What is going on, guys? This is the SS Ultimate Goku back with another video, and today, unfortunately, by now everyone I'm assuming already has heard it, but in case you haven't, Chuck Norris, he got hospitalized, and now today we're hearing this, and yeah, one of my favorite actors, obviously. But I mean, Chuck Norris. I mean, when you think of Chuck Norris, and obviously, I'm sure everyone's already talked about it, but biggest thing that obviously I most remember is Walker Texas Ranger. Um, I was a kid when I watched that series when it being a '90s kid. I was a big fan of the series. I would watch it every Saturday. Um, it was such a great series, a lot of action packed stuff, and really the quintessential thing when you think of action is you think of Chuck Norris because he was the guy that kind of start that whole things that we would see on weekly television. You know, going on for you know laying the groundwork to a lot of the choreographic TV series that we see when it comes to doing that type of the martial arts stuff and all that stuff that they did in the series because obviously Chuck Norris was a martial artist. Um, it was very sad to hear this, and just obviously a couple years ago, um, you know, uh, um, you know, just just a few years ago, we lost Clarence, James Trebet, another, the co-star of, of Walker Texas Ranger with, uh, Cordell Walker, which was who Chuck Norris played in Walker Texas Ranger. Um, it's just sad. I mean, obviously, there's more. There's more than that. He was in the Delta Force, and he was in along with McQuaid, which that was the original uh Texas Ranger thing. That was the movie that laid the groundwork for the Walker Texas Ranger series, which he was also in that movie. Um, it's really he's 86 years old, which is it's old, but I mean for Chuck Norris that's that's not old because that guy was still even apparently he was what's it called he was still training, he was still doing workouts even in his final days. Um, so I mean yeah, I mean this is tough, man. Tough, and you know, I know everyone's gonna, and I know people have been posting all the memes and all that stuff. But I mean, it's serious, man. Like, it's just one of those things where I'm just like, you know, damn, you know, knowing that, we don't have him anymore, for real, you know, just, you know, I never met him. Would have loved to have met him. He never came around here, around my area. You know, here up north. But yeah, I just it's just really unfortunate not knowing. We don't, you know, not him being around anymore because he was just such a great information for a lot of people that like that type of stuff with the the action and stuff like that, and obviously the martial arts that he did. When you think of when you think of that type of martial arts, you think of him and Bruce Lee. Those are the first two people that come to mind. Both got into movies and stuff like that later on. But I mean, those are the guys that you think of when you think of, action packed martial art. That's the guy right there. Those are the guys. And but yeah, I'm just totally lost for words, man. I just he was great. Great to watch every week. And still to this day, I've talked about this before, because obviously a few years ago there was the new series, the new Walker Texas Ranger series that was created, which I was highly against and still am, because to me that a series like that to me should have always been left alone, unless of course Chuck Norris was involved. Um, I remember in 2001 when that series ended. I always thought, and obviously they did have the movie. A couple years later, they did do the movie thing. But I always felt that theories at one point, because in 2001 I was still like a kid, but I was always in the hope that series would return, because when they stopped doing Walker Texas Ranger, it was at the height. It was at the height of the series. Like, the series was bigger than it ever had been. Like, it was huge. It was always huge, but like when it was at when it ended at 2000, when it ended in 2001, it was still, people still loved that series. Like, it was still getting high ratings, and it only ended really because Chuck Norris didn't want it. He kind of wanted to end it. Like, he wanted to end it at that point. But I I felt that series could have gone for easily for a few more years. It definitely would have, if Chuck didn't want to end it. If Chuck Norris didn't want to end it, it definitely would have gone on for a couple more years for sure. Because the series was still very well received in 2001. They were getting record breaking ratings at that time. Um, so yeah, I was never on board with and once I found out how they were doing the new series, it made me not like it even more, because it was the new series that was created was basically just using the Cordell Walker character, and that was it. And it wasn't even the way that Chuck Norris perceived it. All the other characters that were in the show were not being used. So to me, it felt like a series that could have been called something different than what it was called. So I hated that rebooted series. Still do. I don't even know if they're doing it anymore. I really hope they stop doing it though, because it's not a good fucking series. Um, it's gonna be really watching obviously it will live forever. Chuck Walker Texas Ranger the real Walker Texas Ranger will live forever. But it'll be kind of difficult to watch now, a lot of these, because it's the two stars are gone. The two stars of the series are gone. But that was such a great series, and it was definitely something I enjoyed watching every Saturday when it was on. Um, from long time. It was on from 94 to 2001. And again, like I said, it could have very, very easily could have been around longer. I remember that I had heard that they had wanted to do spin off with the other Texas Rangers that were in the show, but that never came to fruition, unfortunately. Um, But yeah, I mean, R.I.P. Chuck Norris. You're a legend. Um, and heaven will not be able to control him because they fear heaven himself. Um, heaven fears Chuck Norris. um, you know, um, so R.I.P. Chuck. Miss you. And Cordell Walker will live forever. The real Cordell Walker will live forever. Thank you guys. I'm out. Number one Ranger, Chuck. Number one Ranger, always. Cordell Walker. I'm the S Ultimate Goku. Out of here. Peace.